He was born into a zoo, nursed by staff instead of his mother. He had already grown too comfortable with people to safely return to his own kind. What he needed next was something nobody had quite planned for. Kumbali was a tiny cheetah cub born in captivity who wasn't gaining weight because his mother struggled to nurse him. The zoo staff feared that if they didn't act immediately, Kumbali might not survive. As soon as they brought Kumbali to the Metro Richmond Zoo, they began bottle feeding him around the clock. They watched every movement, hoping he would grow stronger day by day. Slowly, against the odds, Kumbali survived. But saving his body was only the first challenge. He had been hand-raised from his earliest days. Returning him to his mother was no longer an option. At his age, she would not recognize him as her cub. Kumbali was healthy, but he was also, in a meaningful sense, alone, in a way that cheetahs are not built to be. Cheetahs are social animals. They need companionship the way they need food and space. Human presence could sustain him, but it could not replace the particular ease that comes from having a companion. That was when Kago arrived. Kago was a Labrador puppy who had come from a shelter. The zoo staff thought the two might help each other, so they arranged a meeting and watched carefully. Kumbali held back at first. He stayed at a distance, his yellow eyes tracking every movement the puppy made, his body low and uncertain. Kago, for his part, was entirely unbothered by the caution. He bounced forward, then gave Kumbali room when he needed it, then came forward again. He had the easy, readable energy of a dog who had not yet learned to be complicated about things. Gradually, something in Kumbali eased. His shoulders dropped, his gaze softened. He took a step toward the puppy, then another. And before long, the two of them were moving through the grass together in the loose, rolling way of young animals who have decided that this is simply what they do now. Kago moved through the world with an openness that Kumbali observed and, over time, absorbed. Kumbali, in turn, showed Kago something else entirely. When the cheetah really ran, the puppy would chase him with everything he had and still fall behind. There was a wildness in Kumbali that no amount of hand-raising had touched, and Kago seemed to find it genuinely thrilling. They slept curled against each other. They wrestled in the afternoons. They greeted each morning with the same unreserved energy, as if each day were a continuation of something good that had started and simply kept going. As months passed, Kumbali's body filled out, and his confidence settled into something lasting. The fragile cub who had needed round-the-clock care became a healthy, secure animal with a companion who knew him entirely. The keepers who watched them understood they were seeing something worth paying attention to, not because it was unusual, but because of what it demonstrated clearly and without effort. Trust does not require sameness. Confidence can be borrowed from someone who carries it naturally, and connection, when it is genuine, does not ask permission from categories. Kumbali and Kago remind us that the friendships capable of changing us most are often the ones we never thought to look for. Rescuing an animal changes their world, but looking at this journey, I often wonder who truly rescued whom. What are your thoughts on this? Let's share a moment in the comments.